Today we are going to be talking about solving one-step linear equations. We're going to start off by talking about solving with adding and subtracting. So in this problem right now it says x minus 3 equals 5. So what is happening to x is it is being subtracted by 3. Some of you may be able to guess what the answer is, but I want to be able to show how this process of solving is done by showing our steps on our paper. So right now, we are starting with x, and we want to undo what is happening to x. So like we said, it's being subtracted by 3, so we are going to undo that by adding 3 on both sides of the equation. So up here or to the side, I'm going to write my equation, and I'm going to do this step. I'm going to undo what's happening to the x. So the minus 3, I'm going to get rid of it by doing the opposite, which is adding 3. Now, whenever I do something in an equation, if I do it on one side of the equals, I have to do it to the other side of the equals. So I'm going to add that 3 on the other side. If it helps you to draw a line down the equals, I would do that to help you see both sides of the equation. So when I did that plus 3, negative 3 plus 3 canceled out and became 0. That was our goal. That allowed us to get that x all by itself. Whenever we are solving for something, that means get something alone. We wanted to get the x alone. So when I added the 3 to the other side of the equation, 5 plus 3 gave me 8. So my answer, or my result, is x equals 8. Let's try this again. All right, on number 1. Again, I'm going to start by drawing that line down the equals so I can see both sides of my equation. Right now, the equation says x plus 3. And if I'm solving for x, I'm trying to get that x alone. So I'm going to get rid of the plus 3 by doing the opposite, which is subtracting 3. If I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other side of the equals. 3 plus 3 canceled and became 0, leaving us with just x. I'm going to bring down that equals, and 7 minus 3 gives me 4. I know these are possibly problems you could do in your head, but I want you to practice showing your steps of how you're solving, because when we get to harder problems, you really need to be able to show your work. All right, let's look at number 2. It says x minus 1 equals 0. So I'm going to start by drawing that line down where my equals is so I can see both sides of my equation. And since it said x minus 1, I'm going to get rid of that minus 1 by adding 1. And if I do it on one side, I have to do it to the other side of the equals. And that negative 1 plus 1, it canceled. It became 0 on that left side, leaving me with just x. And then on the right side of my equation, 0 plus 1 gives me 1. So my answer is x equals 1. All right, on number 3, I'm going to draw my line down my equals to start, and I see it says x plus 8. So the opposite of plus is subtract, so I'm going to subtract 8 on both sides of my equation. 8 minus 8 canceled on that left side, leaving me with just x. And on the right side, 10 minus 8 leaves me with 2. So my answer is x equals 2. Number 4, I'm going to start drawing my line down my equals. And it says x minus 3. So to get rid of a minus 3, I'm going to do the opposite, which is adding 3. And if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other side. On that left side, that negative 3 plus 3, it canceled, which is what we wanted, leaving us with just x. And then 3 plus 3 gives me 6. So my answer is x equals 6. So when we're doing something with addition, the opposite is subtraction. If we have subtraction, the opposite is addition. They go back and forth. So in these problems, we're talking about multiplication and division. So looking at this problem right here, it says what is being done to x? Well, it says x over 3, or x divided by 3. So if I want to undo that division, I am going to multiply both sides of my equation by 3. So I'm going to write this problem over here, and I'm going to do that. Again, if you like to draw that line down your equals to show you both sides of your equation, that might be helpful for you. So since it was divided by 3, I'm going to multiply both sides by that 3. By doing so, it cancels out that 3, leaving me with just x. And on the other side, 4 times 3 gives me 12. So my answer was x equals 12. All right, let's practice this on the next part. Okay, so number 1, I'm going to draw my line down my equals, and right now it says x divided by 4. So to get rid of a divided by 4, I am going to do the opposite, which is multiply by 4. And if I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other side of the equals. So when I did that multiply by 4, those 4's were canceled, leaving me with just x. And on the other side, when I multiplied by 4, 1 times 4 gives me 4. So my answer is x equals 4. All right, let's look at number 2 now. I'm going to draw my line down my equals. And right now it says 3x equals 12. Well, if it's a 3x, the 3 and the x are smashed together, which we know means that they are multiplying times each other. 3 times x. So in order to get rid of that 3, I'm going to do the opposite of that multiplication, and I'm going to divide by 3. If I do it on one side, I'm going to do it to the other side of my equals. Now, if you were to use your calculator, 3 divided by 3 gives you 1, leaving us with 1x. Or in math, we don't like to put 1's in front of our x, leaving us with just x. It means the same thing. On the other side of that equation, we had 12 divided by 3, giving us 4. So our answer was 1x equals 4, or just x equals 4. Those mean the same thing. All right, let's look at number 3. I'm going to draw my line down my equals. And right now it says n divided by 5. So I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to multiply by 5 on both sides of my equation. By doing that, it canceled that 5 out, leaving me with just n. And on the right side, negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. So my answer is n equals negative 15. All right, last example, number 4. I'm going to draw my line down my equals. And right now it says 2x equals negative 10, or 2 times x. Since the 2 is smashed together with the x, that means they're multiplying. So I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides of my equation. On that left side, 2 divided by 2 leaves us with 1, or 1x, or just x like we just talked about. On the right side, negative 10 divided by 2 leaves me with negative 5. So my answer is negative 5.